who has been torn away from their security blanket, their parents, the ones who stopped the boogeyman from terrorizing the nights and curing their boo-boos when they scrape their knees. Now just imagine how they might'st feel when the CPS meant to protect them tears them away from their supposed abusers and places them with strangers who have zero comforting skills. They need to be calm. They are confused, lost, panicked, and needing their parents, but CPS took them away for the purpose of saving them. The kids don't even know why, and they are told that the parents they attach to no longer want them. What do you think that does? Do you think that this is how protecting children is supposed to look? Abolish CPS.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.
All right, everybody. Welcome to CPS Victims Hunting Justice. It is Friday night. I want to welcome you all here. I am your host, CPS Punisher. I'm trying to adjust my camera here. Sorry about that. Woo, boy, we got a lot going on today. First of all, we have our chat as always. It is right here. Boom, boom, right there. So please get involved with that. We're going to make sure that we are very attentive to that because we want to hear from you guys, your voices, and hear what your stories are to say. Also, there is some update on sending in your stories. Melissa just informed me I had been gone all day. I wasn't looking at the news. Excuse me. So when she gets on here, she can tell us a little bit more of what's going on with that. It's another chance for you guys to get your stories in. Again, I'm not going to blow that bomb up because I don't know a lot about it, just what she had told me briefly. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Also, please like, share, all of that, that you can do for us to get the story out there, to get everything that we've got going on out here. This stuff that we have isn't just for anybody, it's for everybody. We want every person out there that wants to hear or needs to learn or has the urge to want to, they want to learn all of this stuff. Everybody, we need everybody, we know what I always say, we need to, I don't know if you're at home and you're saying this, but I'm hoping that you're whispering that we need to, what we got to do, we got to pack it up, people. We got to pack it up. We all need to get together. We need to join into one solid group. And we need to come out and these people with their fists up high telling them that we want our freaking kids back. I think that's about it for my intro. But let's get Melissa out here so that we can hear what she has to say about what happened today. And and I do have, because of popularity and all the emails that we got, which we thank you. Yes, Roz is in the house. She's waiting patiently backstage. So yes, you guys have another night of Roz with us. Like we said, we're gonna have Roz Fridays from now on. So she was definitely courteous enough to give us 2 nights in a row. I think we really need 9 nights in a row with Roz. She's so full of information, but we'll get to her in a second. Well, Melissa, tell us what happened today.
Well, we had a meeting in North Carolina for essentially people's constitutional rights. And the biggest story that was heard was that of families having their kids stolen. Well, one of the main host meeting was the Department of Justice. And it just happens they openly admitted that they knew that the department has essentially been stealing our children. They said, yep, they admitted it. They not only admitted it, they said that before the first of the year, they want to start changing the CAPA rules. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
And CAPA, I have a CAPA manual that I will email over to you. But they gave us a email address. They want a full description of people's families and how the departments are violating the policies. And when they say the policies, they want to know how the departments are violating the federal policies. So that's why they sent us a CAPA link to the CAPA download off the government website. And Darren, check your Darren email. I sent you the screenshot of the information with the email address and everything.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'll check that in a second. Guys, first of all of you, thank you. Good job to all of you that you've either raised enough noise, beefed enough with people. You've done something right to make this flow into the Department of Justice. So congratulations and good job to all of you people out there that have been sending letters, have been telling people mouth to mouth, not like mouth to mouth, but face to face, just passing this information along. When Melissa's talking about the CAPTA, she's talking about the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act. That's this right here. That's this little manual right here that they've been going by for quite some time. Now, like she said, that's the federal mandate. So this is part of the battle, but it's not the entire war. This is only what the rules say on the federal front of things. But we all know what state governments do to those things too. But if you sent that to us, if you sent that to me, I'll put it up on the link. So
I did. Check your email.
All right.
Because it's a very short email that you have to respond to. But I have a screenshot of it because it was in the meeting. Because there was 300 people there in the meeting. I was there as a member and supporter of National Action Network. And National Action spoke out about all of these families. And we have till, I believe it's September 24th to start getting in stories. They said 2 years ago they tried to do this before. They tried to change CAPA before. They held a meeting. They had a great outturn. And they said that everyone fell short of getting their stories in.
All right, so September 24th is the deadline?
Yep.
Okay.
And what they said is the stories that come in, they are going to do boots on the ground investigation of those stories to try to figure out what percentage of them are, partially true, mostly true, so on and so forth. And that they plan to start making changes by the first of the year to oversight CPS.
Right. Is there anything else? Is there any other deadlines involved with that, Melissa, or is that just it? Just the 24th is it? So we have from now until September 24th. That's all. Is this thing run parallel with that other one that we were talking about before? Is this the same type scenario, or is this a whole different committee and everything? Remember the one that we had found the extension of and all of that? Melissa? Okay, well, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what it is, but hey, anyway, back at the ranch, right? So, you guys heard what Melissa had to say. That's going on. That's exciting. I'm going to get that link. I'm going to check that out here. But now let's bring out, I don't know where Melissa went to. Now she's gone. But let's bring out Roz. Talk to Roz, and we'll get Herbert out here. Roz, how are you this evening, dear?
Oh, just fine. How are you guys tonight?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. There's Herbert's back here. Let's get him up too. Herbert, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. What about that information you just heard? What does that make you think about?
The fact that we did it before.
Right? You've heard this. You've heard this song yet?
Years ago. I would like that link. I want to check it out. Make sure that it isn't just pulling the parents' leg.
Right. How many times have you seen? How many times have you seen investigation after investigation supposedly going through this way?
I have seen promise of investigation after promise of investigation. Okay, CAPTA cannot be changed by DOJ.
Right.
CAPTA is a law. Therefore, it has to be changed through the legislature. That's why I want to check it out and make sure that they are not, once again, getting parents hooked up for nothing.
All right. Did you think when CAPTA came out, because you were around when CAPTA came out, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? Did you
Well,
think
I was just I wasn't too aware of it at that point. Actually, the whole thing was started actually under Mondale. Mondale was the first one to put it in, and that was before CAPTA. The reason for CAPTA was there was no end game for kids in foster care, so that when they went into foster care, they never came out until they aged out. The idea of CAPTA was to take these kids out of limbo. So it was a good idea, not executed the best.
Right.
But it was a good idea to give stability to children.
Right. Well, you and I had a discussion about this the other day. Like these things, when you look at this stuff, it was designed for a period of time. So, like, for instance, where we were talking about the American Safe Families Act, where it says the incentives, I know you're going to attack me about saying that, but where it gives all of these bonuses to the departments and to whomever that they give it to for adopting kids. At that time, kids were sitting by the groves in offices and places they had nowhere to go, right? So these kids were just...
Oh, no. You had a kid that would go into foster care at age 2, and seeing as it had no real adoption protocol set up, they were in there for 16 years.
Right.
Moving from foster home to foster home.
Right.
Okay, there was no priority to kinship care. That's what was put in. So there was a need for it at the time. Now, everybody's screaming, everybody's getting bonuses. No, they're not. The criteria for getting those bonuses isn't every time you get a kid, you get a bonus. It's not how the bonuses work. Those adoption bonuses, you have to adopt out so many more kids than you did the year before, but you still have to follow all of the rules in removing the children. The state of Ohio has not gotten an adoption bonus since 2012 because we've had the steady same amount of kids in and out. Okay?
Okay.
So it isn't, and here's another thing that why I was saying we have to watch how we word things. We're putting out bad information, and we put out this bad information. You know what that does to people like the DOJ? They say, oh, good. Yeah, all right. Here's your aluminum foil hat. Go away. They do not get, foster care is paid out at a percentage of what is spent. It's not the same in every state. In Ohio, it ranges around 52%. So for every dollar spent for foster care and Medicaid, the federal government kicks in 52 cents. So for every
Yeah, here, down here in Alabama, they pay families a flat rate 500.
that's not what I'm talking about, Melissa.
No, I mean that's what the foster families are getting. They're getting a flat rate 500.
Okay. All right.
Unless it's a special needs,
Right.
and
And
then they get 700.
Okay.
They just do it on a flat scale across the board here.
But yes, I get that. But what the federal government pays to the state for that?
Well, my daughter was a level 3. My daughter was a level 3. The state was paying what was it? Because we have the financial documents. It was paying $485 a day.
Okay.
Is what they was getting paid for her. Out of that, because she was a level 3, she was a high risk. On her, they was paying the facility she was in. What were they paying? They were paying them $74 a day. For every day she was in care. Because she was just stuck in a long-term housing in a nut ward. Now on the younger kids, they're only making $110 a day.
Okay.
And then the fosters get a flat rate 500.
Right. Okay. But what I'm saying is, Children's Services, DCFS, CPS, CSB, whatever they call it in your area, is not making a profit on kids in foster care.
A lot of times, no. But
Melissa, please listen to the math, okay?
they had, wait a minute, hold on. Roz, they had my daughter in care 2 months. 2 months, that's it, okay? They've received current to date, based on the financial records we have of everything paid in. Because they got paid for 2 years on Sarah. They've received $382,000. She did not call the department, DHR, because they received her Social Security, they received her Title IV funding, and they charged me child support.
I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the rate that the federal
the rate that the federal government was paying them. That plus her Social Security, because she got Social Security disability over and above, and they received almost 300.
I'm talking CAPTA. I'm talking DHHS. I'm not talking Social Security. That's a whole nother realm.
No, I was talking the CAPTA funds.
Okay, I'm saying because your case is so unusual, you can't use that for everybody.
Well, I know a lot of cases in my area that are being treated that way. They like it when the kids run away because they don't even mark them runaway. They just keep collecting.
And that is against the law. Okay? And that's what DOJ needs to look at. Okay? Now, what I'm saying is for everybody, okay, when they pay $100, every $100 they pay for foster care, they're only getting $52 to what's the highest now? I think 60%. So $60 back from the federal government. The state or local agencies have to pay the rest of it. Okay? They're trying to charge parents child support. Parents should be knowing how much the federal government's paying, and so they're not paying all of that. Okay? But there is not, nor should there ever be, a profit. If there is, then we need to go to the legislature and get the tax rates lowered, because they don't need them.
Right.
Well, and that's been a lot of the problem lately, is a lot of these districts have been trying to now move to bill it in a way to increase. A lot of these rural areas
Okay,
have been trying to subsidize themselves off of and make job security out of this stuff.
okay, then let me tell you what happened to Cincinnati, Ohio's county. They got caught by doing David John Jones, Social Security number 123456789. And then they would put in John David Jones, Social Security number 987654321. Okay? Moving the numbers. They got caught double dipping. They had to pay all of it back, but they double dipped, and they received no money for the next year, I believe it was. Okay? They had to fund it all themselves.
Right.
So, it's doable, all right? But we have to quit telling parents that selling our kids, that they're making a profit on our kids, because you know what that does to parents? And I'm talking 25 years experience. And this is not the first time. This fallacy has been taught for almost the entire time I've been here. Okay? Discouraging parents who are giving up. And I will not stand for that. Okay? I just won't. We've got to quit discouraging parents to the point that they don't know what to do. They can't win. Why bother? Okay? This money end of it's going to be the last thing they think about. Plus, nobody is making yes, there is somebody making a profit, but Children's Services is not making a profit. Okay? They're losing money on the whole. They're losing money. Now, this $500 when you or $5,000 when you terminate rights of a child, this great big huge, oh boy, they made money. No, when they terminate, after they no money for foster care after 24 months, 2 years, it's cut off. So that when they give that $5,000, that is adoption expenses for that process. They don't get another penny for that child after that. So, is this big profit coming from? Where it shouldn't be. When they charged you with when they took her Social Security money, you should have been charged no child support.
Oh yeah, no, my son, who is still in the system, receives $2,400 a month Social Security, and they just put in paperwork last week because now they want me to pay cash over and above.
No. What do they pay for What do they pay for foster care for him?
$500 a month, and he is not in any services, none.
Here's what you do. You put in an order to the court that anything more, most places charge 2% for bookkeeping. So 500 plus 2% is all they're allowed to keep, and the rest must go into a trust fund for your child.
They tried to tell the court that they were not receiving any money on him or Sarah, and we outed it and actually showed them paperwork, and then they're like, oh yeah, but that doesn't come from her, that comes from Social Security.
Does it matter?
And excuse me, he's my kid, it's out of my survivor's benefits.
That's right.
Yes, it does come from me.
Right, indirectly it does. Okay? But I want you to start trying to think simply. A lot simpler. Okay? You're missing a lot of little stuff. Like, if they didn't get this time, your state is 90 days for an adjudication. Yes, I looked it up. Okay?
Yes, it is. That's what the rule says. It should be held within 90 days, and it should not exceed 9 months at the most if there is extreme delay. And I have not been able to find remedies though for it in the case laws. I've been looking case law for remedy.
Make case law. Where's your motion to dismiss on time? And the records, those records are officially part of the, your transcripts are officially part of the official record. And
the judge will not turn them over. It'll just be a case de novo, and we'll have to start all over again.
Where is your motion to compel?
Denied. Like my motion for court-appointed attorney, that was denied. My motion to continue was denied. Any motion filed by me is denied.
Why? Have you put in a motion that you are representing yourself?
Yes. Actually, I had no choice but to have on record that I represented myself because the judge denied me counsel.
Okay.
Even though under our state constitution, I am absolutely allowed court-appointed counsel, so I had to start using retained counsel. Honestly, this judge is probably the worst in the state.
You are feeding right into him?
No, I'm not. I appealed the last thing he did, and I got a trial de novo because he would not turn over transcripts to the appellate court. I got a de novo. I'm now in front of a circuit judge. I've been waiting a year for a court date.
Why is it taking so
long? The first one, the day of court, the guardian ad litem called in and said she needed a continuation. The second one, she withdrew the day of court, so that continued it out again. We went into a hearing 2.5 weeks ago, and one of the attorneys failed to show up, so it got continued again. Now we go to court 9 days from now, roughly.
Motion to dismiss. You have done everything. You have not asked for a single continuance.
We asked for one 2 years ago. Denied.
Okay, good. Motion to dismiss. And you have to learn, it doesn't matter that it's denied. It is now on the record. If you don't do it, it's not on the record. I don't care if you do it 100 times. It's on the record. Everything you like, it's on the record. You object, you whatever. Did you, and Melissa, the other thing is, you have to learn to listen to what is asked and only answer what is asked. And as close to yes and no as you can get. Okay? Now I'm going to ask again. Did you put in a notice of appearance as pro se?
Yes, 2 years ago.
In writing?
Yes, in a formal motion.
Good. Then you have all the
right. The very next day after that, I filed a motion to be granted more time to respond due to the fact that the attorney wasted a month and then withdrew because I was under discovery, and that was denied. And then they got the compel for the discovery. I didn't bother responding to it because honestly, they wanted my tax returns. I received Social Security. I don't file taxes.
Did you send that to yearly award letter?
To what, Roz? I didn't hear you.
Yearly award letter.
Oh yeah. No, what the woman wanted, what the GAL wanted, because it was GAL that filed discovery, not the department. And what she wanted 3 years of my social media because she wanted to point out to the judge that I supported Donald Trump at the time, because he actually pays into left wing.
That absolutely nothing to do with anything.
Oh, it does with the judge. If he knows you're Republican, he's nasty to anyone Republican, unless you have a law degree. She wanted 5 years of tax returns. She wanted copies of all my titles and deeds to properties. And she wanted 3 years of my social media.
What did this have to do with you having children?
Nothing. It had absolutely nothing to do with my children. That's why I didn't bother to respond to any of it. He wasn't holding court anyways.
Okay, that was not a good move to make, but it's done. Okay?
Well, he didn't hold court for 16 months after that, so it's not like...
He did not to.
Well, he put out an order that he literally said he would never hold court again on a newborn or on a 2-year-old because he was mad that a 17-year-old ran away, went to Michigan, and got married when her dad in Michigan had custody of her.
All right, guys, let's go back to what we were originally talking about. When that was the money per child per dollars. And let's explain how this thing really goes down. I'm getting a lot of questions about that. I'm getting emails here.
That would be in your state laws. And I cannot write over there and link you to it, but that would be in your state law.
But what's the amount of the children are getting per child in foster care?
The longest a jeopardy hearing can be pushed back in Maine. Every state is different. However, all 50 states fall within, at a jeopardy hearing, I take it you're talking adjudication. They call different things in different states. Your first hearing is right after they take the child. It's a 72-hour hearing, basically, is the generic term. The next hearing would be an adjudication hearing where they have to prove that they need to keep the children, the end of their investigation. In other words, the findings of their investigation. And all 50 states are within 90 days.
Right. All 50 days. All 90 days. Hey, what happens if they don't hold that 72-hour hearing after 72 hours?
First thing you have to do is a motion to dismiss.
So is it if let's say they take 2 weeks to do it, you can file a motion to dismiss?
Now remember the definition of 72 hours. 2 weeks is too long, by the way. It's 72 business hours. Basically. In other words, Saturday and Sunday and holidays don't count.
They do not count.
No.
Okay.
Okay? But if they take your kids on Monday, by the end of the week it'll all be done. They'll have the 72-hour hearing in. Okay? Because 72 hours is what, 3 days? So, they take the kids on Monday, you better be in court by Thursday. They take them on Thursday, then you've got the weekend. And heaven forbid if it's one with a Monday that's a holiday. Because that don't count either.
Right. It's a long ass weekend, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's a long weekend. Okay.
Now what about this? Check this, Russ. What about when people they come and they give you a preliminary petition order, PPO, to tell you that they're going to take your kid because they're in imminent danger, but then they don't take your kid and they wait 7, 8, 9 days, and then they come and take your kid?
They can't claim imminent danger at that point. Imminent danger allows them to take the kids immediately.
Okay.
Now, in other words, caseworker walks up to, because she has to report a safe working, okay?
Yeah.
And she knocks on the door.
Yeah.
She sees in the window drug paraphernalia and what appears to be a line of cocaine, okay? Laying on the coffee table, and there's a 2-year-old running around. She has every right to call the police and take your child immediately. The police come to a murder scene. Okay? Mom's dead, laying on the floor. Call the police, take the kids immediately until you find out who relatives are. Okay? That's imminent danger. There is case law, Herbert, out of Arizona, I believe, where they tried to say imminent danger after 3 days. When they had time to get a court order and didn't, even though it was horrible conditions, they still had to redo it, and it was in federal court, so they got slapped pretty hard for taking the kids when the kids needed to be taken, but they didn't do it right. You have to do it right.
So there's case law out of Arizona, you believe?
Yeah, I believe it was out of Arizona a long time ago. I read that one. And unfortunately, I had a ton of case law saved in the computer, and it died.
Right? Of course it did.
So
it always works.
Yeah, it always works. But I'll tell you what, I have every computer hard drive I've ever owned. If I ever can find a way to get the stuff off of them, that I can afford, then we'll do that. I'll have it all back. But yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the bad thing about this state and their definition of imminent danger and stuff. The legislation here has been changing it. It's been the same thing over in Mississippi too. They've been weakening the definition to it actually states anything that could create an extenuating circumstance is imminent danger in the state of Alabama under their statutes. It's some of the stupidest stuff I've ever seen. Because it's even quoted. It's even quoted in my case order that was their extenuating circumstance was the grounds for imminent danger. Therefore, it did not require family placement.
Hang on just a second. Okay. 665 34.06. It says, I'm looking, I see what is not imminent danger. Impending danger, not imminent, impending danger, threats are less obvious and more challenging to identify and require as much information as necessary to determine if safety threats exist. So let me see if I can find imminent in here, in this. Okay, here we go. Children are unsafe when they are vulnerable to present or impending danger threats. The parents or caregivers are unable or unwilling to provide protection. Present danger threats are easy to observe, cause imminent concern, and require imminent answers to ensure the safety of the child. So, it has to be present. I'm reading straight from the law.
What are those numbers again, Roz? What's those numbers again?
660-5-34-.06.
right. Put that up here.
That is in your administrative code.
Yeah, no, this was quoted out of Alabama Rules of Juvenile Procedure,
Okay,
which is what the court goes by. They almost never use the administrative code in court. They use the juvenile procedure codes.
this is what governs children's services.
Yeah, but it doesn't govern the judge. That's the juvenile rules of juvenile procedure. Definition. It's a definition under imminent danger, and it speaks that anything that causes an extenuating circumstance is grounds to not look for family placement. They don't have to make any kind of preemptive thing to try to preserve the family and home. And it's even grounds to be relieved for reasonable effort in the state so that the department don't even have to make an effort to give the kid back. And the definition of it, because I've looked up its legal definition, and then I went back and looked up the bill that it was originally drafted from to see what context that definition was given. That was part of a rape and sodomy bill signed in 2007 to keep rapists from getting custody of the children. They
Okay.
X'd out a couple sentences in it, turned it into extenuating circumstances, and made it for something that they could use against all parents in this state. Which to me, that's just like the most disgraceful thing they could do, because that was meant to keep predators from taking custody of the children they created during a rape. And it's being used to needlessly destroy families.
Wow. Let's see what she says, Lynn.
Okay, it's going to take me a minute because, oh, here we go. Which rule is that under?
I'm looking it up right now.
You don't have the easiest procedures to search.
We keep ourselves on our toes, Charles.
Pardon me?
I said we like to keep ourselves on our toes, you know? Why would we do the easiest things, you know? Would you know how the longest Jeopardy hearing? Oh yeah, we've already tried to answer that one, right? Jeopardy hearing.
Yeah, I would have to do the same thing that I'm doing now. With
I'll look up my seat right here. So,
but of course, if you get a hold of me one-on-one, I'll be happy to go with it. Help you with that.
Sorry, it's taking me a second to look it up because Westlaw always takes a second to log in.
Why are you going to Westlaw for that?
Because I'm already paying for it. I might as well use it for something. Otherwise, my tablet just makes a useful paperweight. Oh
my God! Because everything you can get on Westlaw, you can get on Google Scholar for free.
Yeah, but my Westlaw is paid by another attorney.
Oh, okay.
And I write a lot of documents, and I have all the family stuff. I have trial briefs. I have jury notes. I have the whole 9 yards. I even have the federal background searches through Westlaw. So it's useful when looking up guardian ad litems and stuff.
I love looking up things on caseworkers and GALs. Like calling one out because she said somebody wasn't responsible enough to take kinship care of a child. I said, oh, not responsible, like not paying your mortgage? She was in foreclosure at the time.
That's funny.
It was fun.
Yeah. Now, any other news that you heard of today? Anybody at all? Anybody out there in the audience hear anything?
Oh, I was on the road all day today. I didn't hear anything from anybody except little bits of what we missed last night being here instead of watching the debate.
Herbert's got something to say.
Yes, Ross, I have a question for you. We all know, Melissa and I and Darren, we know of a young lady, her name is Tiffany. And Tiffany, she has her children wrapped up with CPS also.
Okay.
But she's doing similar work as Melissa, helping other people get their children back. And I just wanted to know your thoughts about that. In terms of,
I personally don't think you should be advocating until your case is over, because you should be putting your kids first. That's just,
so Tiffany should be putting her kids first then.
yeah. Get her case done, settled, learn what she needs to learn from it, and then she can pass it on. You should always start advocating only in your own state first. Once you have your state down, then you can branch out. We have a group at American Family Rights that you're not even allowed in until your case is closed. It's called Learning.
Really?
You're not even allowed to start working with legislators and other parents and that until your case is closed.
Well, I know Tiffany also kind of works with attorneys and stuff, and tries to help. She goes down to court and helps parents try to get the kids back and stuff.
Well,
At
if
least I
she
knew she was doing it.
gets back, how can she successfully help someone else?
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
Okay? You have to be able, I mean, there's cases, this is general, okay? This is general. Your case is not like everybody else's, especially when you start talking about other states. We have only 37 states in this country. The other 3 are commonwealths. Total different courts. Plus, Louisiana works on a different kind of setup of law based on Napoleonic law from when they were owned by France. So until you know the insides and outs of this stuff,
Miss Kitty, we offer you
you're kind of just stay in your own backyard. Like I said, when I started, we have 88 different agencies.
Right.
I learned what was going on in those 88 agencies before I ever stepped out. And when I first stepped out, what does somebody do? I've got nobody to help me in Pennsylvania. And I've got nobody to help me in Michigan. And those were the first 2 states that I had to look into. And very, very, very different.
Right. What are some of the noticeable differences between states? Is there something that you could be like, hey, make sure you pay attention to this, because this is so different from here or there or whatever?
Okay, California, for instance, they have certain procedures and names for things that somebody who doesn't understand that the whole country doesn't work that way, they'll say, yeah, I think I want to put in a Marston order. A Marston, what's a Marston motion? California's the only one that has it. That's the motion that you put in to get an attorney.
Right.
Okay? So they have, different states have different setups. If you don't know Social Security Act, and you don't know CAPTA, okay, and what those regulations are, then you kind of don't understand what the states are doing individually. Another thing that's different from state to state is how long the state gives you to put in for a TPR, for termination. Okay? Ohio used to be 18 out of 22 months. It is now 12 out of 20 that they can put in termination. Now, why do they have out of 22 months? Your kids are in for 6, they come out, and 6 months later they go back in. So it's over a 22-month period. How long are your children out of your care? Some states are at 18, some are at 20. You need to know what your state is in that area. Another thing is the adjudication hearing. How long from the time of removal of the children to the adjudication hearing? Everyone has to have reviews every 6 months. Now, whether that is done in a court, whether it's done in the CPS office, there needs to be, and then the results of that meeting is put in the court record. There has to be a semi-annual review. Has to be. Anytime these things are not done, there should be a motion to dismiss put in. Case plans are a contract between the parent and Children's Services. If Children's Services does not do their part, then they are in breach of contract and should be put in for a contempt. Period. It's called a motion to show cause. Another thing, when Children's Services drags their feet on putting in referrals, keep track of that. They say you have to take parenting classes. So you say, okay, and you call the parenting class people, and you say, I'm supposed to enroll in parenting classes. And they say, oh, your caseworker hasn't sent over the voucher or whatever paperwork they need. And the caseworker doesn't send it over. You need to start counting that time. Because remember, you only have 22 months to get your stuff done. So if your caseworker takes 2 months to send that paperwork in so you can get into class, you want that 2 months back on your clock. Because she stopped you from following the case plan. The very first case I did, the mother's case plan said that she was to maintain employment. The caseworker refused to do anything outside of 9 to 5. The mother had already left. I got her a job at the bank where I worked, the corporate office of the bank where I worked. They called and they wanted to have a team meeting during the day. I called the supervisor and I said, Larry, we're not coming, and he ain't doing it against her. Steph has lost 2 jobs already because of that, and we're not doing another one. So, seeing as and I work at the same place, we get off at 5. Depending on traffic, we should be there no later than 5:20. We will do this at 5:20. Whether or not you are there, Steph and I will be there at 5:20. And you can put a muzzle on that pit bull in the background because she's way out of line. And I was talking about the caseworker.
So, Roz,
we had a meeting at 5:20 where I corrected their risk assessment. I said, you can't say that. That is not on it. That same case one time tried to say she stood outside and knocked on the door for 45 minutes and the kids were home alone. I pulled out the weather for that day, and I said, so you stood in freezing drizzle for 45 minutes, knocking on a door, looking in the window, when all you had to do is turn your head to the right and see the the apartment complex's office, who had a key, who could have gotten you in. Quit lying,
Right.
Donna. Quit lying, Donna. That same caseworker came to a visit one time. Wanted to talk to the mother during the visit. Sat down, started talking. I said, Donna, you're breaking the case plan. The case cannot be discussed in front of the children. Number 2, this is her visitation time. You have now taken up 10 minutes. We will be here 10 extra minutes.
Yes. I hate it when they try to do that.
But you've just got to. So you go sit over there, or I'll have you removed by security. This was the very first case. Okay, I was too stupid to know that you don't talk to him that way. But you know what? If it weren't for this girl's father, she would have gotten the kids back. Now, later, Steph she divorced her husband at that time. She did not get her kids back. Her father insisted on getting the wrong kind of attorney, did not listen to a thing I said, and ended up losing everything for her. She moved to Florida, met a man, got married, and was a victim of a murder-suicide.
Oops.
That's why I can now use her name and not be against confidentiality, because Steph is gone. Her funeral was split between Florida, where she had siblings and friends, and Cleveland, where she had family. And she had family and friends, old friends up here. I went to the funeral home. That was when Zoom for funerals first started, right about then.
Right.
And her oldest son I got to talk to. I cried like a baby. Her oldest son had attended by Zoom, and I got to see Jonathan. He had no idea where Ricky and Brandon were. He will be looking for them. And I told him, if he needs my help, call me. I'm always there. I got to see Uncle Ricky, who housed the boys for a long time. I had to quit because of the caseworker.
Oh yeah, nothing worse than a bad caseworker.
But the thing is, you have to hold them accountable. Everybody says, oh no, oh no, oh no. Anybody who wants managing your attorney, please get a hold of me.
Oh no, I think caseworkers should always be held accountable. The shit that's been getting on my nerves is like the current caseworker. She's been on the case now 3 weeks. She's caseworker number 14. We've had 5 supervisors and 3 directors. And I asked her, I said, what are the allegations against me? She says, you'll have to give me some time to go back and look at the file. And I asked her another question, and she says, well, Melissa, you know that's all before me. I said, yeah, well, being your case, it's your job to know it.
Right.
Well, we don't get to see the other workers' files. I'm like, well, you better find a way. Oh, I already know they can see them. That's just her not wanting to do her job. But one of the supervisors comes into our visit and hands me a letter. This was 3 days later. And this letter actually states, when I asked, what are my allegations? Because I was always taught, when you're trying to reunify, the first thing you need to do is figure out what it is you did wrong to put you in your situation. You need to accept it, admit to it, apologize for it, learn from it, and not do it again. And that's what, courts typically want to see. They want to see that you've gotten better than that. And so I asked her, I said, what have I done? I said, I need to know what I am supposed to accept blame for. She hands me a letter that says that It didn't list any allegations whatsoever. It just says I was not indicated of harm. When I sat down and actually pound my fist on the table, what was the actual allegation? They still couldn't come up with one.
You have in your hand exactly what you need for a motion to dismiss.
Yes, thank you.
No, they will not accept a letter of not indication for a motion to dismiss. I have to have proof over and above that, because that's the indication letters here aren't worth the paper they're work on.
You're gonna listen and learn. Write the damn motion to dismiss and use that letter as Exhibit A.
Thank you, Robert.
They've already got it. They've already got the letter.
Okay,
and
do they have it as an exhibit to a motion to dismiss? Yes or no?
I have submitted a motion to dismiss. It's been denied 4 times.
With that letter as an exhibit?
Of course it was. I've been submitting that letter for 2 years.
When
But
did you
down
send the
here,
motion to dismiss?
I did a motion to dismiss before I even knew you, Darren. I did a motion to dismiss right after I got the letter. Literally, the day after I got the letter, when my attorney quit, I did a motion to dismiss. Denied.
Recently, you have not.
Denial. What was the motion? Denial.
That's just all it said was motion to dismiss, denied. That's it. No rhyme, no reason, no code, no law, no nothing. That's what this judge does. He does what 1, 2-word, 3-word answers. So,
have you ever done a motion to clarify?
Yes, I have. And he said his words were in his motion to clarify. He says, I did not misspeak in my response. The motion is denied.
Thank you, Your Honor, for the appealable issue.
Yep. We've even done a writ of mandamus on it.
I've never seen it work. Never. In 25 years. Never.
Well, down here on that's a writ of mandamus argument. Take it up to the Court of Appeals. We did one. And at the Court of Appeals, it ended up being dismissed because they wanted it to be done as a standard appeal, but there was no hearing. And the prior hearing, they wanted the transcript of it, and he wouldn't give it. So they dismissed the mandamus in its entirety. And that was prepared by an attorney.
Melissa, your stuff is so screwed up. I can't even at this point. I'm not calling you a liar. I just can't even believe it. Okay?
Well, even Darren can tell you I'm not lying about this shit. It is that crazy.
This makes 0 sense.
It makes 0 sense to everyone. The one attorney that's working on this file, he has been
lawyers appointed.
No. We have no appointed attorneys. I'm denied appointed counsel, even though our state constitution says we're allowed to.
Judge, appointed or voted in?
The judge that has jurisdiction over the case, which is the district judge, he is a lifetime appointment to bench. He was the department's Governor Ivey. Governor Ivey appointed him in, and he was our county's child support attorney.
Okay, and that's
for CPS. That's who denied everything.
Okay, that is usually the career path. Okay, that's the standard career path. Okay, so it's appointed by the governor. What is your process for impeaching them?
So you have to make a formal complaint to the governor and legislation. which I have. I get no responses back.
They usually
I even, at one point, the DOJ had the FBI investigate due to discrimination in this case.
yeah.
FBI investigated, found grounds that they sent a case request for warrant to the state attorney general. The state attorney general sent it over to the head of the Judicial Commission, asked that something be done. And we've still never heard anything, and the asshole's still on bench.
Why is the FBI investigating a state matter?
Because under arguments of discrimination, because this judge is very discriminating. It's not just a hatred. He discriminates against a class of people very badly, like openly badly. And when you reach out to the DOJ on discrimination case, they use the FBI to do their footwork to gather evidence for them. And they did find grounds to send a report to the state attorney general, because state attorney general sent me a copy of that report when they sent it on to the Judicial Commission to ask for the start of impeachment. And of course, it never went anywhere. Yeah. Our state likes its less than proper judicial system.
What about other families that he has in your immediate area?
Well, there's another family down the street. They had 3 kids. They went into care about the same time mine did, actually, and my daughter was friends with the girl. He did the 72-hour hearing in the 72 hours like he was supposed to. He waited a year to adjudicate. He did the adjudication and permanency, bifurcated them all into one day at 13 months, and then did the termination trial 2 weeks later and terminated her rights. And she was another one where it was an aggravated circumstance. Oh, and by the way, the statute for that is 12-15-312 subsection 1.
Whoa, one more time.
12-15-312 subsection 1. Aggravated circumstance.
And what was her aggravated circumstance?
That's just it. We didn't have one. You know, but they quoted the body of it without quoting a subsection.
What was hers?
They didn't quote one. They just quoted the subsection 1, and under 1 they give like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They didn't quote any of those because none of those applied. Because it speaks to drugs, alcohol, rape, sodomy, abuse, abandonment. The worst thing that they said
Your attorney
is
go back to school.
I know at that time the attorney was Sierra White, and she was trying to appeal a couple things, and once she withdrew, judge wouldn't allow any more court-appointed attorneys. And down here I paid $7,000 to one attorney. He filed his notice to appear. 3 months later he filed his notice to withdraw. He did not file a single motion. He did not even write a single motion. He did not try to enforce the judge to hold a hearing. He just sent me a bill and said he wanted me to bring him another $7,000. Didn't have it, so he withdrew and told the judge that he was withdrawing because I wouldn't pay him any more money. Well, he didn't do anything for the first $7,000. Why am I going to send him another?
Yeah.
The last attorney that I retained, Austin Burdick, he was on for the hearing that got de novoed. It cost me $46,000 for one hearing. And the judge told me how he'd make sure I'd never see my kids again, told my attorney he thought I was a piece of shit. He listened to the department give testimony that there was absolute no allegations. And if you want to read those, I recorded the hearing. Judge didn't, what I did. And
I cannot believe that there's nothing you can do for this judge. Nothing. I am not.
No, he's like so protected, and I don't get it. You know, you see other judges, they walk across the street wrong, and all of a sudden they're under judicial review getting a suspension. But this man, no one will mess with this man. And I don't get it, because I went to the person that appointed him. I saw impeachment under the correct grounds. You know, I had the instruction of a couple very, very good legal minds, making sure that all of my paperwork was done right. I've been to the House of Representatives. You know, I tried discrimination through the DOJ. They told the Attorney General's office they handle it. They sent it over to the Judicial Commission. No one to handle it.
Did you try the EOC? I mean, EOE?
No, I haven't tried them yet, but
yeah, yeah. For equal.
And right now, the reason I'm sitting quiet for the next 9 days is this circuit judge. I'm friends with a lot of people that are best friends with him, and they say this man will uphold law and integrity. So if I have any chance of winning, that'll be in 9 days, because after that, it goes back to the first jackass. And at that point, I'm going to have to throw everything but the kitchen sink at it.
Yeah.
I've never, see, I'm from Michigan. I've seen the worst of Michigan when I was out in Lenawee County. I used to help families down in Ohio, in Toledo, in Lucas County.
Oh, God. Lucas and Wood County were awful for years.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. Wood County sucks. Their police department's as bad as their CPS.
Lucas County would take kinship referrals and then go pick up the kids from those names. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can imagine how scared I was when the head of that county came to Summit County, which is Akron, just south of. I went, right. Oh God, not him. But,
yeah, no, I'm familiar with the Ohio counties, because I lived in Point Place for 4 years, and I kind of always worked in the area. And living in Monroe, Michigan, just north of Ohio,
I have relatives there, and I was there today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we still to this day, we have a little used car lot there off Telegraph in Monroe. And, you know, the system, now Monroe has got a very, very, very corrupt system. I actually had a GAL tell me in Monroe. He says, we are, because, you know, Monroe and Lenawee County, so Adrian and Monroe are a shared CPS jurisdiction. They actually share office and workers between the two of them. And that kind of surprised me, because usually each county likes to hang on to their own shit. But the GALs told me, he says, we are the head trafficking capital of Michigan. Any kid in our system only comes home if we want you to have them.
I do
and
know.
Then they terminated my rights and sent my kid to Canada. No joke. They sent my kid to Canada. My son is now my daughter. He's 12 years old. And they had a full sex change done on him.
I'm sorry. My own family was involved with CPS in Monroe County. And of course, you know the old saying that nobody listens to the prophet from their own city? Yeah, my family didn't listen to me.
Oh, yes, right.
Absolutely right, Purple. You're absolutely...
Yeah, no, Monroe County, I'll tell you what. I was living north of Detroit, okay? And we had, my ex-husband lived in Monroe County. And me and my fiance, we were in our house minding our own business, 3 counties north. Police came to our house, pulled guns on us, took the kid, did not tell us where anything, did not tell us anything as to where they were taking the kid. I ended up actually filing kidnapping against the police department at the state trooper's office because no one could tell me who took the kid. No one could tell me who took our kid. And all of my paperwork shows that the removal had nothing to do with me, and it had to do with my ex-husband, who was a retired physician. He had that like punch drunk syndrome that boxers get, where they get hit in the head too much. Anyways, he so it was like dementia. And he was bragging to someone in Monroe, "Oh, I'm best father of the year. I'm the primary caretaker of my kid." He hadn't seen the kid in 6 months. So when they went in and investigated his house, they found absolutely no supplies for a child. And they looked at his history and seen that he was an easy target because he was already substantiated in the state of Michigan. And boom, they took an emergency court order, came up to my county and stole him.
That kind of thing happens, but I'm getting a note that we need to wrap up. So, you and I, it looks like, are the only ones here.
That's what I'm trying to see. No, we still got Herbert here. You still here, Herbert?
Yeah, I'm here.
There he is. Your picture wasn't there. I didn't see you.
No, I took the picture while I was listening.
There you are.
I got a question for you, Ross. Can you do a deep dive into that county of Melissa's in Alabama?
I can do a look at the laws. Children's services records are not open to the public.
No, I mean procedural stuff, because Melissa's been going through this so long. You know, she's been going through this situation so long.
There's there that's missing, and I can't figure out what it is. Okay,
none of us can. The attorneys down here can't. We can't. Everyone keeps saying this case doesn't make sense. The judge, the judge that is supposed to be the fair judge we're supposed to be going in front of, he's been trying to get a new guardian ad litem since the last one stepped down, and everyone keeps withdrawing. I mean, one guy we did get disqualified because he was a conflict. The guy disqualified himself. But outside of that, they've tried 3 more GALs. They've all conflicted out. And the whole case just doesn't make sense. There's missing monies coming in from Social Security that the department ain't getting. Like, it just don't make sense. And here's one little note about this county. A few years back, the director that started this case against me, she piled so many kids into one foster home here in the county. An 18-month-old got beat to death. And this is a very small county. And she never got in any trouble for it. But, you know, it was so bad at one point with this county that they referred to it as a dog pound. Taking kids were like just putting dogs in the pound. That's the way they labeled it in the newspaper, because she was taking so many kids. This is also the pretty much the kidnap capital of Alabama and the murder capital of Alabama. And I think that's only because we only have four deputies to the entire county. So there's no one to investigate. So everything stays unsolved here.
Hey, Brooke asking a judge here and rule on their own change of venue hearing.
Yeah. The change of venues in these cases are almost non-existent. It would be nice if we could get them, but they're almost non-existent, and yes, they can rule on it. In many states, they even rule on their own refusals. Purple.
Yeah, they do that to me. They do that to me. Ruled on their own.
Purple, I'm in Ohio also. My email was put in earlier. If you scroll around, you'll see RAM dot etc. I have not heard of that case. I would love to do a little more into it. We have people on the uh, private custody side in that county. I would very much like to look into that case. So would my partner.
Just put an email up here in the bottom. It's right there. Right below Herbert. It's her email. So make sure you guys get that if you need to get a hold of Roz. All right, guys. I think take a look here. If we cover all these. Yeah, I know it makes no sense. It doesn't make no sense at all. Yes, in the recusal, yes, the judge can't hear their own recusal, and it doesn't make any sense at all. But
Brooke, get a hold of me. I'll give you other ways that you can force the recusal.
All right. Well, all right, guys. Let's wrap this up for the weekend. Herbert, last word.
Yeah. Okay. Last words is, as you're listening to Melissa and Rosalind, right, and Darren, you can see it's important to do whatever you can to avoid being the target of CPS. Stay away.
Yes.
That's my last
word.
Stay off the CPS.
Roz, last words for you.
Keep people out of your business. That's the easiest way. Once they are in your business, try to keep everything in writing so you have a record. Teach your children the reverse Miranda. I have the right to remain silent. Please call my parents.
Yes, that's a great idea. We'll get those printed up too. We'll get those put up so we can send those to people for sure. Melissa, last words.
Don't ever quit fighting for your kids. Without you, they're lost. No one can love your kids like you do. No one knows your case like you do. Always keep fighting.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening.
You gonna send me the link, Darren?
Which ones? Yeah, I already did, buddy.
Okay.
Already done. I went out for all of us for a Google Meet after the show, or Friday, whatever, and I'll be there for sure.
I'll get one out to Rosalind.
So, yep. Thank you for that, Herbert. Appreciate that. Hopefully everybody stays clear of CPS for this weekend. You got plenty of email addresses. Plenty of places for you to look for us. So, good luck. Stay safe. Yes, we're out of here.
Don't celebrate quite yet, the storm is coming, Q, for heaven's sake. Violence that they demonstrate, instigate and penetrate the values of our country, and our God is what they desecrate. My fighters ain't no featherweight, pulling out the seams of the fabric that they fabricate. They feed us lies, and then we liberate, praying that you give me strength to find some love amongst the hate, marching on these streets of blood till I see the golden gates, troubadour and troubled souls, one of God's servants, blades out, cut the grass till we see the serpents.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
I know the truth is hard to swallow, just digest it. Suspected something's going on, but chose to just neglect it. deflected by some fucking news. Oh, we just accept it, expected just to fall in line and follow their perspective. Don't question their objective, but I got a lot of questions. How these kids molested, but nobody's been arrested. Read it in the testament, these children are protected. So I'm fighting all these terrorists, both foreign and domestic. Refuse to be directed, lion not a sheep. Only kneel to my God, so I'm dying on my feet. Silence when we speak, but there's violence in the street. I've been rolling with the punches, I can't take it on the cheap. Drink from a glass half full, I'm optimistic. People are sadistic, so vicious and malicious. Praying for assistance to overcome opposition, or I'm gonna start resisting and then I'll pray for forgiveness.
One day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now. We need you now. We need you now. One day, one day, one day. Oh, one day I hope you see the truth. This puppet show stays on because of you fools. We've been dancing with the devil way too long. I know it's fun, but get ready to pay your dues. Oh God, come back home. This crazy world is filled with liars and abusers. We need you now before we're too far gone. I hope one day they finally see the truth. God, we need you now.
Stealing kids and adopting them. They tear apart families by removing fathers and weakening the family structure. Sure, there are groups out there helping families, but we question the purpose and are realizing that so many are taking advantage of the victims of this CPS machine. They pretend they are something. They are not just to get popularity, to monetize for profit, and do this leading others down a rabbit hole of false information. This is dangerous and unacceptable. Here comes the CPS Punisher and CPS victims hunting justice with the purpose to protect the victims so they can no longer be taken advantage of by a government or a mob. Creators that are trying to make money from you, be aware. The CPS Punisher and Melissa will be here to protect you and defraud all these people taking advantage. Watch CPS Victims Hunting Justice on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. We are coming for all those foreign and domestic. We are ready to hunt those ruining so many lives and end this pain. Then ask the Lord for forgiveness. If you are one, be afraid.